Okay, so this is Wanderlust, and this is
Eric Fallon.
all right. And well, a lot has happened since December 3rd. Let me just update that nicely. Uh, yeah, a lot has happened since December 3rd, and a lot of it's pretty good. It's in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, there are some. Players have come, gone, and returned, and I'm kind of surprised to see some of them leave, like Santos, for example. Santos, maybe not. I shouldn't be. Maybe I shouldn't be that surprised with Santos because he seemed very, very frustrated near the end of the season.
Yeah, I think, I mean, certainly he came in, he was a very solid center back for us. Maybe a little lacking in mobility. I mean, I know they tried to play him at left back a few times, and that experiment didn't really seem to work. So, my guess is that they just didn't see him fitting the new style and the new tactics they're going for. So, a reasonably solid player for us, but maybe just didn't fit the tactics going forward. So yeah,
That happens. That happens. Where if he, I get, he's not like 33 or something. He's probably got a few more years in him.
oh yeah, I mean Eric's is still in his mid 20s, so I mean
He's in
he's
his
still
mid
got
20s. Okay,
yeah
so
he's still got some good years ahead of him, I think. And
if he's if he's gonna spend them in football, then maybe he could be going back to Brazil.
yeah, if he has any regrets, it's hard to tell because if you check his Instagram, it looks like he's living his best life on the beach in Brazil. So
Okay, I wouldn't be
give him,
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to some Serie B team.
yeah, might be a little higher level than where he might land, but I mean, I'm sure he's got.
B or
If he wants to
C.
play in the game, I'm sure he's got options. Yeah,
I think Ituano was Serie B when Joao Morelli was there. I think so.
yeah, that may be. Yeah,
It may have been C. They're B now. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oxner. Now, yeah, I guess this was an eventuality for sure. He was struggling a lot of the time, and he was poorly received by a lot of us, myself included. Uh, and
yeah. I still think he might have. I think the pressure of being a starter and being the hometown player, clearly. Clearly he was struggling. I thought he might have benefited from maybe going somewhere else and being the backup and not having the pressure of being a starter and maybe refinding his form. But my understanding from what I've heard is, he found the last season very frustrating, and I think he's done with his playing career in any event. Certainly hope to see him around the community in a coaching capacity. I think he's got a lot to offer young players locally. So
yeah, he,
it's never a happy time to see one of the to see us lose a few of our original Wanderers, but I wish him the best of luck, and like I said, hope to see him in and around the community. I know he likes working with young players, so
yeah. So yeah. Also, yeah, he do. I think he'd do great as a coach. Like, be it for university, be it for like under 15s or whatever, or there.
yeah,
This guy.
youth, university. I mean, there's no shortage
There's no shortage at all.
of players that would benefit from his experience for sure.
Of course not. I honestly, contrary to the belief of some folks that I know who I've talked about this with, he definitely has a future in related to soccer, just not this team, and that future does not involve being the manager of Foot Locker.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. It sounds like it was a frustrating season for him, and it's unfortunate to see it in that way. But like I said, lots to offer. So
The real surprise is Ox and Basket going. Although Basket was, I get the feeling Basket was being frozen out, which
yeah, it was a weird situation with the keeping this season, and Basket had seemed to have kind of taken over the starting role in 2021, and then back to 2020 through the season. So it was confusing. I think it was frustrating for fans and players alike. Again, it sounds like Kieran's got some opportunities over in Europe. Maybe I think someone mentioned he's got a passport and is trained.
You are breaking up like you wouldn't believe.
Do you want me to try the headset?
Yeah, give the headset a shot.
Okay. If this works.
Right. Meow? Meow?
Is it better?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay through it?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Excellent. Okay. As I was saying, Basket. He became a star later on, but there was a feeling he was getting frozen out, and in some cases even hung out to dry. I could see why he would not. That it wouldn't surprise me if that led to him leaving Wanderers.
Yeah, like I said, it sounds like it was a frustrating situation for players and fans alike. In 2021, I thought that Basket had kind of taken the starting role and made it his own, and then we get to 2022 and Oxner starting again, and then midway through the season they seemed to kind of shift, and Basket was back in kind of the main starting role. I understand there was a fair bit of frustration on the part of the players. I think it was certainly frustrating for the fans, and unfortunately, sounds like it didn't end well. So he's off to Europe, I guess, and is looking at opportunities over there, and has a UK passport, from what I understand.
I hope he finds some opportunities at a National League or League Two club.
Yeah.
Hopefully I can see it.
Something that works out for him, because I certainly think he's still got. He's got room to grow. He's got a high ceiling, and so hopefully he finds an opportunity that works for him.
Does Wrexham need a goalkeeper by any chance?
It's funny you should mention it, because they actually just. Now I don't know if that opens up a spot or not. I know they released him so that he.
Who got released again? There was.
Sorry.
Who got released again? There was breakup when you mentioned it.
Christian Dibble, who had been their backup last season. He was injured for part of this year, and he wants to pursue first-team opportunities elsewhere. So they did a mutual release, and he's gone. So who knows? Things have happened. There, Wrexham for him. Maybe not in a starting role, but
maybe not.
Yeah.
Says it had to be a starting role. As long as they don't hang him out to dry, and as long as they don't, that's a Jan-Michelle Williams thing, isn't it? Wasn't it?
Well, I mean, I don't know for certain. I mean, typically your goalkeeping coach would be the one making the recommendations about which keeper would start a game. Now, whether I don't know what the dynamic was in the coaching, whether. Sounds like it was an unhappy situation for everyone involved, and said looks like it. The keepers have moved on, and we've obviously signed a great starter for next year, whom we'll be talking about soon. So.
Okay. All right. Who else was it again? Did Daniel stay or go?
Daniel stayed and signed a contract extension. So. I think that's exciting. He was obviously, he himself will admit, because he did so in a recent interview, that he struggled this season, but a very technically gifted player who's done well in other leagues and should be able to do well in this league. And so hopefully he fits Patrice's system a little better. But the club had exercised an option on him for this year. And now he's signed a full contract with options for the next 2 years.
So 2 years.
Certainly sounds like that Patrice believes in him and believes in his ability to find the form that he's had with other teams, and that they see him potentially being part of the longer term plans for the club, right. which is good. Like I said, he had a rough season. He himself has said so, but really obviously a very gifted player, right. and hopefully we see more of that this year.
We know Jeremy Gagnon Labouré went to York.
Yeah.
They've lost so many folks that I think they might still be a net loss despite them having a new very capable midfielder.
Yeah, made some addition. I know going to land because they've lost some key players, obviously. Ensa and they've Dominic Zator. And I still don't think they've shored up their defense quite, but they've made some really strong additions in midfield. In addition to JGL, they picked up a very promising Dutch midfielder the other day, and Brian Wright up front.
I saw his profile.
Pardon?
I saw his profile earlier on Twitter. I forget his name though, but yeah, the new Dutch guy could be a handful.
Has played. I'm blanking on the name as well, but he's played, second tier, quite a number of games in the second tier of the Dutch league, and I mean that's it's a great footballing country. So he looks a decent prospect. They added Brian Wright up front, who was Ottawa's second highest scorer last year. So that's a nice add for them offensively. They were good down the stretch last year, and they've kept Mo Babuli, who was a big part of that. So York could potentially be dangerous if they can address some of the holes that have been left on defense with the departures of Ensa and Zator.
Ooh, okay. Well, yeah. Okay. Who else did we lose this year?
Obviously, Shala.
Shala.
So again, an original Wanderer. So
entirely.
To see him go.
His time was
struggled. He had struggled a bit the last 2 seasons, I'd say.
Yes, he did.
I think.
I was really hoping.
Sorry, go ahead.
I had high hopes for the guy. As the first time I saw him, I really was like, I hope this guy keeps doing really well. It's a shame what ended up coming about. He's another guy who I think could do very, very well in some sort of like coaching role or something like that.
I think him and
maybe
Corey
in Germany.
And others had been doing a bit of coaching on the side while they were here. And
cool.
I'm sure he may look to carry that on. I think the reality is, Shala was a great player for us in our first season and at the Island Games, but the quality in the league has continued to improve, and we've gotten faster and faster forwards. And he was not the most mobile defender, and I think we saw, that a bit more the last 2 seasons where maybe his lack of mobility, team that players that were considered fairly strong players in 2019 and 2020 have kind of become squad players by 2022 and 2023 because again the caliber of the play continues to improve. So.
Yep, and one concern that I had with the team last season is that it appeared to be stagnating while most other teams were soaring.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they made a decision last year to exercise most of the options they had and bring back most of the team from 2021, which, in retrospect, looks like a bit of a mistake. That we stood pat last year when we needed to make some bigger changes. So.
Yeah. Okay. Is that all right? So that seems to be it for people who have definitely bounced, right?
Well, I mean, the probably the other notable. I mean, there were a few others, but probably the other notable is Corey Bent, who's a player that really enjoyed.
His
Great guy
fitness suffered
great guy on a
immensely.
personal level. Really nice. You could see how he'd be a really positive presence in the dressing room. Had some moments of brilliance as a Wanderer. Probably the most memorable being that wonder goal he scored against Montreal in the Canadian Championship in 2021.
Nice.
Seemed to struggle a bit with fitness, and so maybe that was the knock on him at the end of the day was, he had trouble going a full 90 on a consistent basis, and was often seemed to be injured and out of the lineup, and so it's tough. Got only a 20-man roster. Um, you kind of need everybody to be as healthy and available as
Right.
possible.
Yeah,
So,
his fitness was suffering big time, and there were bumps that he took that it's amazing he came back as quickly as he did from them.
yeah.
Yeah, I understand why he chose to move on.
I understand he's. I think he's doing some work with now, uh,
Work with
playing
who now?
senior side and possibly in a coaching role. So
Yeah.
hopefully he sticks around again. Like one of the big benefits of, big spin-off benefits of this club is we're starting to see players like Hakeem Garcia and Corey and others moving into coaching roles locally,
That
and
excellent.
that's going to have a huge knock-on benefit for youth soccer locally, which is great.
I think so. Even if you're struggling playing at this kind of level, you can still coach at young, younger folks and folks at lower levels. It's not a problem, and I like that that's been a trend. Same with I'm not sure what Marshall's going to end up doing, and Garcia. I guess he decided to do the coaching thing too.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
he's
there
up
are
to
some
Rome as well.
internationals who didn't work very well for us, but could very well work for others. And those international slots we've used very wisely, I think. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
What about our renewals? Like Andre Rampersad, very happy to see him renewed.
Yeah, I mean that's a no-brainer.
That's
Heart and soul of the team. He's been with us since day one, and he's a player that's continued to improve and stay remain one of the better midfielders in the league, which tells you he's improved year over year, every year to stay at that level. So obviously a lot to keep around. Like I said,
it's happening again.
sorry, just talking about Jake Ruby.
Oh, okay, Jake Ruby, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, Daniels had been extended as well. Jake Ruby was another extension, so they've signed him for another year and added another club option, which is great.
Yeah, I think so. Ruby's been amazing recently.
Yeah, he came back this year. I think he was one of our more, I hate to say hidden gem, but he was one of our better players in 2021 before we got hurt, in my opinion. I'd say one of our five best, and obviously had a really unfortunate injury that kept him out for the better part of a year. But when he came back this season, he came back strong. And
I hope Morelli comes back that strong.
and he's versatile too. Like you can play him as a center back, you can play him as a right back, you can play him in a hybrid role where he's shifting, and so I think he's got some offensive upside that we weren't really tapping into under Hart. Like I think he's capable of being a wing back that goes forward, and so
I could see that, yeah.
maybe we'll see more of that under
Maybe
guys.
we'll see him on the left, opposite Fernandez.
Yeah, I think they've used him on the left once or twice, but I definitely think he's right back's his natural back or right center is his natural position. So,
And maybe as a depth option when Fernandez is out of action.
yeah,
If, but yeah, he's doing solidly as a CB, so we're probably going to see more of that. Omar, he's another one who was struggling and then got back into form.
I mean, I think that's just the a player who had only played college um, adapting to becoming a pro, right? Like it is a step up. It's you're practicing instead of being on the field a few times a week. You're on the field every day. Sometimes that leads to more injuries. Sometimes that just takes some adaptation in terms of fitness levels and getting used to it. But I mean, towards the end of the season there, I think he started 3 games in 8 days and did well in all of them. So he's obviously very comfortable. Geyser speaks extremely highly of him. I think said if he had one word to describe him, it's winner. So this is a guy with not only the skills but the desire to succeed in the opinion of his coach, and so that's great.
That is beautiful. Yeah.
The other contract extension worth mentioning, since you brought him up, obviously, is Fernandez got extended. So
we'd have been foolish not to.
A full contract and added another 2 options, so we could see him around for at least.
In my opinion, he was our best player, and it's not particularly close. No disrespect to anyone else in that squad, but Fernandez was like. It wouldn't surprise me if a year or 2 from now he ended up playing for like Scottish second division or something and tearing that up.
Yeah, he was a solid addition and somebody that maybe has the potential to move to a
doing an Accio or a Pepple. Ideally after the season to come.
Yeah, I'd like to see him in blue for at least another season.
Yeah, let's see. What else? Although no player is bigger than the club, I'm very happy to see Fernandez be part of it.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so Escobar, what about him? He's supposed to be the acting LB since Gander went to school and decided to stay there, along with Sal.
Yeah, I mean, last we heard, I don't think we've had a date, but last since then we've signed Wesley Timoteo. He's very capable playing as left back, and they kind of seem to suggest that that was maybe where they saw him, was primarily at left back and occasionally up on the wing. So great player. We had him out on loan to Edmonton last year where he did extremely well. Very versatile, can play everywhere from the back to the front. Seems to fit Geyser's system well. We brought him back on a multi-year contract, which is great. I'll be interested to see what happens at left back though, because we him and then we drafted Stolar from Cape Breton University, who is also left back.
Okay.
And
we are going for depth in that part.
Sorry?
We are going for depth in that zone of play, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, I think the club's mentioned before that left back seems to be a position where it's hard to find Canadian left backs at this level, and so they had a few options, and it sounds like they took all of them. They signed Riley Ferrazzo from Vaughan, who played under Geyser there, who was also a left back, and seems like Ferrazzo is pretty fundamental to the way Geyser's system works, which, according to the folks that have watched a lot more Vaughan games than I have, the left back is pretty active and sometimes kind of tucks into midfield alongside the defensive midfielder to provide a bit of a double pivot at the back there. So Ferrazzo's obviously somebody coming in. He knows Geyser's system. Geyser has confidence in him, and so it just raises an interesting question. If they sign Stolar, does that mean we see Timoteo up front more? If we don't sign Stolar, is Timoteo starting and Ferrazzo as the backup? So good thing is we seem to have some options at left back next year. Looks like Escobar is probably one of them. One or under option for this season. So.
Okay. Yeah. Right. So I'm Mondway. I think Mondway can be everything that we were hoping he'd be, along with Amla under Geyser. I think so.
Yeah, it'll be another one where it'll be interesting to see where Mondway plays under Geyser. Is he? I think he's capable. We obviously used him primarily as a left winger and then a striker in a two-striker system last year in a 3-5-2. I think he's capable of playing any of the front three positions, and so where does he fit into the system best? And I think that's an open question given the other players we've signed. But he's out on loan right now with his old club, Newtown, which is great. That'll give him a chance to kind of get some fitness and build some confidence ahead of training camp. He'll be back at the end of February, and hopefully things go well for him there. And I'll be interested to see where we end up seeing him playing this year, because we also signed Massimo Ferrin, who I believe played as a winger in Geyser's system in Vaughan. So how those two kind of fit together and complement each other will be interesting.
Yeah. Well, considering he was really good at everything that wasn't scoring. Which
drew a lot of penalties. Finishing wasn't there yet, but that's a player adapting to playing at a professional level, and I think he's got the tools to score.
Even last season, when we couldn't hit our undies with, even when we couldn't hit our hankies with a sneeze, we created a lot of chances.
Yeah.
So I think there's that chance that Geyser, who's supposed to be an attacking-minded coach, could turn the likes of Amla being a discount dom, like I was hoping he'd be, a big tall guy to put crosses into.
Against our under 23s, and he banged in a lot of goals in the PLSQ. So he looked a little lost playing for us, quite frankly. People said he wasn't getting service. He also felt like maybe he wasn't getting in positions to receive the ball. But hopefully Geyser finds a way to integrate him into his system, because he's a big striker, but he's also pretty quick and mobile for a big guy. So I think he's got real potential, and hopefully he realizes it.
Yeah. As the new signings we got, make me hope. Well, and Salter, the spot king himself. He's probably going to be more of the same.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. It'll be interesting. Another thing that'll be interesting to see is how Salter fits into that system. So, does he stay at right wing, which is where he mainly played last year? Does he move back to striker? I don't know. And who will be taking our penalties? Because Salter took the bulk of them last year. Is he still the guy? Is somebody else the guy? I mean, these are all the fun elements of having a new coach and waiting to see where people fit into the game plan. Yeah, he's clearly got one. And so it's a matter of how those pieces fit together.
Yeah. Into our new signings now. Coimbra was the first one we got at. We didn't talk about Coimbra earlier. So, it's amazing. You first.
Well, it's an intriguing signing. He's a big... he's coming to us from Palmeiras, who are a very reputable Brazilian club. He was playing for the U18 or U17s and U20s there. He's only just turned 19. Brazilian-Canadian dual national. He played for the Canadian. He played and has scored for Canada's under 20 international squad. 2-year contract plus an option. The good thing is he's a U21 for the next 3 seasons, and we've got him under contract or option for the next 3 seasons. So I like the signing from the perspective that, we've often been signing guys who are 20 and they turn 21 the next year, and they're no longer U21s.
Coimbra walks into this team backwards.
Yeah, I don't know about that. So I think he's a project player. I think he's a big body. He doesn't have professional experience yet, and so I think that give him some time. I'm not expecting him to immediately come in and start lighting things up Morelli style. I think, but I think it's a good signing in the sense that we've got him for 3 years. We've got a chance to develop him and turn into the player that I think he can become. Because I think he's got a high ceiling as well. He was not a Geyser signing; he was a pre-Geyser signing. So again, how does he fit into the system? I'm curious to see, but he's got tremendous potential, which is good, and it's player got the potential to develop over the next few seasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, and it's amazing that we're getting folks from the B lists of the likes of Palmeiras and PSG, Lorenzo Caligari,
Yeah.
new attacking midfielder, I believe.
More of a six, so more of a defensive midfielder.
Oh, six.
Yeah, he's he's a. I mean, this is a really exciting signing as well. He was a PSG Academy product. He never played a competitive match for their first team, but he did play a preseason game against Real Madrid. So there's some fun footage of him playing for PSG against Real Madrid and being on the pitch with the likes of Angel Di Maria, among others. So, I think they described his passing range, and you really notice that in the highlights. Is the guy. We haven't necessarily always had someone that can hit those long balls and help us play out from the back, and that was something that really hurt us. For example, against Forge last year, when they went with that high block and we had trouble playing past it. And one of the things that would help you play past it is obviously someone that can kick it out from the back. So sits very very deep from the footage that I've seen. It's sometimes almost behind the center backs, but I expect him to kind of sit right in front of those center backs in the sixth role. Field. That's interesting because I think Rampy's kind of been our six for much of the last couple of seasons, anyways. But I think he said he prefers to play further up the pitch. He prefers to play as more of a central midfielder as an 8. So I think that frees up Rampy to play the role that he prefers to play, which is good too.
Caligari sounds like he could be a really good JGL replacement because JGL was, except for those few games where he played left back, he was very much an 8, an effective 8.
I think he's still young. He's still 24. Obviously, his career has progressed differently. He's mainly been kind of in the Italian and French third tier since then, but that's still a great level of league compared to the CPL. So great pedigree. His highlights look great, and solid passer of the ball. Looks like a solid defensive midfielder. So a really good ad, definitely.
Yeah. Let's see. So that's Caligari. Iron Yan. There's our primary goalkeeper handled.
Absolutely. And this is a guy that was, funny story. I mean, he was rumored to be coming to Halifax a couple of years ago, and it turned out that was a completely false rumor. But he's a player that I think a few of us have had an eye on for the last few years. He's been over in Europe playing in the Finnish league, playing in the Swedish second league, playing in a variety of pretty good leagues, again, that compare pretty favorably to the CEL. So Swedish tier, Swiss second tier, Finnish second tier, all compare pretty favorably.
All right.
And a big keeper, bigger than the ones we've had before. I think he's about 6'4", controls the box really well, seems to to distribute the ball reasonably well. He can really boot it up the pitch, and so that gives us another option to get the ball out from the pack. Solid signing. Looking forward to seeing him stopping balls at the Wanderers grounds.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Jan Fillion gives me hope. Then you mentioned Riley Ferrazzo, left back.
Guy that played for Geyser at Vaughan and was
Yeah,
pretty crucial to the system there.
one of
So
his players.
A good depth addition, potentially a starter. I mean, we'll see how quickly he makes the jump to CPL levels. So
Yeah, Escobar, Ferrazzo. That's a good. Those are good. Those are good players for that position, or those look hopeful for that position.
yeah, I think Escobar's gone. I'll be honest. I think the signing of Ferraro, the draft, Stola, and Tim Mateo getting an extension.
Okay, yeah, I can do it. Yeah, the newest guy, Callum Watson.
Yeah,
Callum Watson.
English player, hasn't played professionally before. Was in a non-league academy at AFC Sudbury in England, so a lower table non-league side. Has been playing college in the U.S. for the last 4 years. Started out in Hastings College, which is in the NAIA, and then made the jump to Creighton College, which is an NCAA Division I side. Made, I think, the semifinals there, and looked at his highlights. He's a good tackler, which is he's good on the ball, but a good tackler. Like noticeably some very clean tackles, able to get the ball away cleanly, solid on the ball. Looked like his passing was maybe not, might need to tighten up a bit to play at this level. He was getting some good balls forward, but occasionally they weren't entirely on target, and where people are marked a little more closely at this level. But he's only 22, and so hopefully has some room to grow as well.
He's got his whole career ahead of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking to see if there's anyone I missed. Calgary,
we
Ferrazzo.
touched briefly on Massimo Ferran, but we didn't kind of go into detail on him. So
Okay,
he was kind of the first Geyser son. He was the MVP in the Golden Boot in League One Ontario last year. Again, he's making the jump from semi-pro to pro, so we'll see how he adapts. But he does have a bit of pro experience. He played in the USLC previously for Luton United. Not a very good team. He didn't score a lot of goals, but neither did that team. So I don't think that's a slight on him. Another college product. He played college in the U.S. and then came back and was playing semi-pro in Canada. We know a few good players that have followed that pathway, and so potentially a very exciting signing. He was prolific. He was a prolific scorer in League One last year, and so hopefully he's ready to make the jump to the professional game and start knocking in goals at this level too. So
Yeah, I guess we've renewed our commitment to being midfield FC. Hopefully, ideally, with a view to challenging Forge's midfield. The reason why Forge had our pants down every single time, to my knowledge, was because they bossed us in something that we usually prioritize.
yeah, they bossed us in midfield, and both games last year in particular, they played a high press and stuff. That there's a couple of ways of going at that, but one of them, like I said, is if you can play out over it with some long passes from the back. Now that we've got a keeper that can do that, and hopefully a midfielder that can do that, and some defenders that are decent passers of the ball, I think we've got a lot more options to overcome something like that in the future. reasons for optimism, like we said.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Now, yeah, that's those six signings. We think, we've knocked those off the list. What do you think our expected shape is going to look like? I think, again, we're going to commit to the midfield as our engine, and we're going to really, really. I think that's going to be our focus again, even more so, and with a view to more of an attacking presence. And I really like that idea. And it doesn't seem like the defense is going to suffer there, because Campagna and Ruby on defense have proven their competence. We have a strong GK as well, so who's a proven GK as well. So it looks like we're going from strength to strength.
Yeah, the shape I expect to look a little different than last year, obviously, which you do with a new coach, and everyone that's talked about how Vaughn played. I mean, if the one kind of, with a defensive midfielder sitting in very close in front of the center backs, and like I said, that looks like the way Caligari plays. And then, three attackers with two very attacking midfielders in behind them, like attacking eights, sitting very closely in behind the forwards. That's going to suit Daniels. That attacking eight role, I think, would be a good, because you're almost playing as a 10. I could see Rampy sitting in there as kind of a little further back, as maybe more of a box-to-box midfielder. So the question becomes, like I said, who's occupying those three attacking roles? Who's our striker? Who are our wingers? And I think there's a lot of different possibilities there, because we've got a few guys that can play on the wing or play the striker. So be interesting to see how he mixes and matches those roles.
It really would be.
As I said, Timoteo can play as a right winger, as he can play as a left back. So a lot. Norman Camp and how they fit into this new system. So, but it's going to be a very, very fresh look, I think. So.
Yeah. Okay. Get me to April. I'm kind of pumped. I have one reason to be very worried about April across the pond, and I have one reason to be looking very forward to April.
I assume the reason you're worried about April is Everton, and the reason you're excited about April is the start of the Wanderers season. So.
Correct.
Yeah. All right.
Although, let's see what Sean Deitch does for them. I think he's going to serve what they need too. Pragmatic, no nonsense. Makes clear demands and he commands respect in a sensible way and reasonable with it. Not like some not just some hard ass for the sake of being a hard ass.
Yeah, I mean,
oh my,
obviously got some resource constraints, so he may be well suited to that situation. We'll see.
Okay, yeah, all right. Morelli? What do you? I'm guessing Morelli's gonna end up coming in later into the season, not being quite where he was, but still being a reliable asset.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the biggest question marks about the season, right? Is when he comes back, what kind of
Geyser also seems to understand what a plan B is, so it's not like we're going to be wholly dependent on Morelli if he comes into play, or we're not going to be screwed without him.
He kind of mentioned in one interview that he doesn't want the team to peak in April or May. He wants them to peak in August and September, and so he sees Morelli being part of that. So, what I took from that is he's not going to rush him back. He's not going to expect him to be performing at 100% right away, and if he comes back and gradually ramps up and starts to peak in August and September, perfect time for him to peak, right?
Oh, look, what they should have done, the approach they should have had with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. so that he doesn't end up injured half the time.
Yeah, yeah. The worst thing you can do is rush a player back from injury.
Yeah. Overall, how are you feeling?
Still cautiously optimistic. I mean,
The best kind of optimism.
It's the safest kind of optimism, anyways, I guess. But I think we've made some solid additions. I've still got.
You still got something's happened. There was an issue.
Sorry, I was just saying. I think I think we've made some solid additions. I still got some questions about what we're going to look like up front and where the goals are going to come from. I think we've made some promising additions, but we still don't have that many players that have forwards that have scored much at a professional level. So hopefully Geyser's able to get that out of them, and we see a lot more goals.
It looks like I mean, the only way we're going to know for sure is in the season.
Yeah, I think there's obviously still some roster spots open. I think it's mainly probably going to be depth pieces at this point and not, marquee signings. So, I think we're looking like a potential playoff team. I'm not sure we're looking like a title contender, but
let's not count our chickens before they hatch. I'd love to see us be a playoff team, and the potential is definitely there.
Absolutely, yeah.
At least, or at the very least, we won't be out of the playoffs mid-season.
Yeah, and hopefully playing a more brand of that kind of an insult to injury last year it wasn't just that we were losing games. It's that it wasn't a whole lot of fun to watch. I mean, it's one thing if you're losing games 4-3 and or 5-4 and it's a bit of a goal fest, but
like Leeds under Bielsa.
Cheer about, yeah. But if you're losing games 1-0, it's a hard game to enjoy when.
Or 1-2 after leading 1-0 at the half.
Yeah. We switched to a very defensive style towards the end of the season, which made us more solid at the back, but it also reduced our goal scoring further. So I'm hopeful, based on everything Patrice has said so far, that he intends to play fun, attacking football that's fun to watch, and that may mean on occasions Burnett ends up being the one that gets fit because you go forward more, you take bigger risks at the back, right? But on balance, I think it's going to be a lot more fun to watch.
Sound all right. I'd say that covers it. Same time, whenever there's enough news to justify like 45 minutes worth of footage.
Yeah, absolutely. It's find out the rest of the Canadian Championship schedule this week. We're going to find out the regular season schedule this week, and I assume there'll be more signings in the coming weeks. Expect training camp to start, early March, and so probably more to report by the end of February for sure.
Okay. Then us against Ottawa away. That'll be a test.
Yeah, I mean, we still don't know what Ottawa we're going to be facing, right? This is a team that, it really turned it around last year, obviously. It went from last place to first place in the regular season, ended up in the finals with Forge, but they've lost one of their best players in Balu Tabla. They've lost Brian Wright, who is their second best scorer. They have a couple of their better players. Ingham and Bassett are on trial with one of their sister clubs, Atletico San Luis in Mexico, and so if they lose one or both those So, we could be facing, sort of the defending regular season champions, or we could be facing a completely different squad than the one that went from last year. So it'd be interesting to see what they do, how they fill those holes. Um, they've obviously got the resources of Atletico Madrid behind them, and so they've
That
pulled off
helps.
some impressive signings in the past, and we'll see
All right.
what they do for this year.
Okay. Yeah. And they have the power of Simeone and football freedom fighterness on their side. So
Yep.
we'll see. Anywho, thank you very much. Have a good one.
Yeah,
I can
good
stop.
chat with you.
Yep. Thanks. I can stop recording in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.